The correct answer to this question is option A. The scope of work is increasing. Hey everyone, this is Mentor Tooba, and I am back with another PMP question and its detailed answer explanation. So let's begin. This is our PMP scenario for discussion today. I'm going to first read out the scenario and then we'll explain the option choices in detail. So the question says that during an Agile project, the team is tracking progress using a burn-up chart. The chart shows an increasing number of completed tasks, but there is no reduction in the remaining work. What could be the possible reason for this? Option A, the scope of work is increasing. Option B, the team is not updating the chart regularly. Option C, the chart is incorrectly updated using a cumulative flow diagram. And option D, the team is completing work but not updating the completed task. And the correct answer to this question is option A, the scope of work is increasing. Of course, I'm going to explain why is the correct answer and why B, C, D are incorrect choices. But I would like to explain this particular question with an example burn up chart as well. And with that, I will explain that how burn up chart works, and then I will come back to these option choices and I will explain these four in detail. So this is a burn up chart in front of us. See, burn up chart is a monitoring tool in Agile projects. It shows you primarily three aspects of your Agile team working progress. It shows you the overall scope of work accepted in a release or in a sprint or in a project, depending on at what level you are establishing it. In a separate line or in a separate line graph, it shows the current progress or the currently completed sprints or number of tasks in the in the sprint or in the release by the team. And there is a third line which tells you that what's the ideal picture, like if you are going ahead of schedule or if you are going behind a schedule with respect to your expectation. This particular line, which is red in color, is the overall scope of work for the Agile project, like the agreed upon work in your sprint or release or product backlog. This green line, this one, shows the ideal picture, and this blue line is your actualized picture or your completed items in the Agile project. Or in other words, you could say that this is your team performance. Now, in this particular question that we were talking about, the situation was that the team was working and they were updating the project performance, but the remaining work to be completed in the sprint is not reducing, or it's a constant, or it's not reducing. So the reason for this is maybe new features or new work or new scope items in your project are being accepted, because this is common in Agile, that new changes, new features, new stories, new requests like keep on coming from your customer. And if this is the case, then even if you keep on doing or completing the previously agreed upon scope, the differential or the remaining work is going to be, of course, increasing, or it's going to be there. It's not going to be reducing. For example, if I take the same scenario over here, you can see that in this particular example, let's assume that there are 14 sprints in this particular project. And the originally agreed upon scope when this project was started was 32 items, backlog items, right? Which is represented by this point. And you are done with, for instance, 7 sprints as of now. Let's just assume this. Of course, you are done with the whole project, but let's just assume to understand this question in a better way. So you are standing at this point. And by this point, after the 7th sprint, you are done with 20 items in the already agreed upon backlog of 32 items as per your original plan. And you can also see that by this time, by the time 7th sprint was ended, and you were about to enter in the 8th sprint, there is an increase in scope, right? So if I just check that by the time 7th sprint was ended, how many backlog items or how much scope of work as a team we were left with, I would say the differential is 12 items, right? However, the correct answer is it's not 12 anymore. It's 15 actually, because 3 items are newly added or newly requested by the customer, or maybe as a result of the review or feedback session after the 7th sprint. The 3 items or the 3 new features are additionally requested, and now this team is expected to complete collectively 35 items and 15 remaining items. So if I am standing at this point and I just go back to that situation, if I just show that again, this situation, that the team is tracking progress and using a burn-up chart, and the chart shows an increasing number of completed tasks. So in this case, by the time 7th sprint was ended, we were done with 20 items collectively, but the amount of remaining work, which used to be 12 or should be 12 by that time, is now 15. It's not reducing. In fact, it's increasing in this situation. And in some cases, it can stay constant as well, because you are not really adding further items, but the previously added items are creating an increase in the original expectations. It's not really reducing, but it's also not increasing. So in this situation, the reason why it's happening is the scope of work of your Agile project is increasing, which is the correct answer as well. So why not B, C, D in this situation? The team is not updating the chart regularly. This is not correct, because the chart shows an increasing number of completed tasks. This is clearly mentioned in the question, that the chart is showing the number of completed tasks, which means that team definitely is updating their work, and it's being reflected on the burn-up chart as well. However, the question is not about what has been completed, or is that correctly reflected or not. What has been completed is updated and reflected on the burn-up chart. The question is actually about why the remaining work is not being reduced, right? So it's about the other aspect of burn-up chart. So there are 3 aspects that we have talked about: the overall scope of work, the actualized work or the performance of the team, and the ideal line, or like the agreed upon line, the baseline, and not really baseline, like the agreed upon line with which your performance is being tracked. So it's not correct. And why not C? Because it's talking about cumulative flow diagram, which is a tool in Kanban way of working. And we are not really talking about Kanban in this particular project. We are actually referring Scrum, because burn-up chart usually, burn-up as well as burn-down, both charts usually are used for Agile Scrum type of project. So C is out on the ground of wrong tool mentioned. And D is also out for the same reason why B was out. The team is completing work but not updating the completed task. Team is completing work, that's true. And team is also updating the completed task, because the completed tasks are correctly reflected on the burn-up chart. It's the remaining work which is the point of concern. And we have already talked about why remaining work is continuously increasing. So I hope you liked the explanation and you enjoyed this conversation. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back very soon with another question explanation. Till then, take care.